Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Nyasha and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me as ever is my best friend in the whole wide world. I wouldn't want to do a podcast with anyone else. What a babe! My friend, your friend, everyone's favorite F1 content creator, Thandie Sabanda!
Yay! Hi guys, how are you guys? Happy Monday. If you're listening to this, it's probably a Tuesday. I hope your week's going well.
Hey, my week's going fucking splendid, mate.
Same.
I'm having a great time, and I'm sure you are too. But look, it's not about me. It's not about you guys.
It's not about me, or it's not about you.
It's not about us. It's not about us. It's not about us right now. It's about our fabulous guest. It is the one, the only. We haven't even discussed something. Me and Thandie.
The E.
Oh, yeah. No, go crazy.
Am I going?
Yeah, go. Do it.
The D, the E, the N, the I is Deni. Hold up is Deni. Hold up.
Some of you are wanting to be in the presence of Lewis Hamilton. Some people get invited.
Some people just wear Lewis's merch, but, you know, did Lewis actually personally give you the merch?
I don't think he did. I don't think some of us are making knockoff Lewis Hamilton merchandise.
Trust me.
Others are wearing the real deal. Shit's crazy. Don't put it up. Don't brag about it. Don't put it up to the screen. Okay.
She said you niggas are paying £90 for delivery. I just get it handed to me.
I get it custom. You're a customer. Welcome to the show. It's the one and only FIAgirly, Deni. How's it going?
What a lovely introduction. You're like, every time I come on here, it's like a red carpet just rolled out. It's like, what, Deni? Like, hey.
We literally want to make all our guests feel so welcome because here at Quick Stop F1, we're just all about love, you know? Don't listen to what they say online. We're all about the love.
Yeah, really about just loving one another.
Yeah, just being really nice.
Really nice to each other. Deni,
it's
an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. We're going to get into all of that later, but before we get into that,
you know, my dad listens to Quick Stop F1 now.
Really?
Hold up!
So
shout out Deni's dad.
This episode, and you know, we just gotta hit the points tonight.
I get really embarrassed when people say that their dads and their mums listen because I'm thinking, oh my god, your dad and your mum have heard me cuss. That's not something I want.
That's one way of looking at it, isn't it?
I feel like you know, I don't need people's parents knowing that I spent a year like crying about like Lewis Hamilton and you know, the fall of my personal life. But look, we're all a family, and your family and my family now, and we're all just going to share that burden together. Thank God for that. And look, it's not about my burden, it's all yours. It's about you guys at home. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure if you're watching to give us a like and a subscribe. If you're listening on Apple, leave an Apple podcast review. If you're on Spotify, leave a 5-star rating. And of course, Spotify's there. No, it's not. The Patreon's there for an ad-free stream. We just witnessed a Japanese Grand Prix full of incident. Congratulations to Red Bull on...
Sorry, signal's gone. Sorry, we glitching.
Oh, no. I feel like... Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? Or...
No, sorry, I've been on freeze.
Get that.
Okay, no, it must be the internet. But there's so much more that happened within that. Before we get into that, Thandie, as the person who actually was on job this weekend and woke up and you know, participated in the race.
Did I sleep? We don't know.
No one's ever gonna know.
No one's ever going to know. Who needs to be behind the scenes? We don't need to break the fourth wall.
I saw the tweet, you know, with the mug. You're like, I'm awake. I thought Nyasha has some very feminine hands.
That's what somebody said. Somebody said that. I can confirm. Of course, it's so weird when people come into the Quick Stop DMs, by the way, and they're like, yo, Nyasha, address me. I'm Thandie. Hi, Thandie and Nyasha. Because there's two people on the mic, but that's fine. I get it.
So, I mean, congratulations on and thank you for getting up. You know, this was a praise thing, you know, but it's okay. You just turned it into shade. So Thandie, as someone who woke up on time and was there and witnessed it all live, how did you find the Japanese Grand Prix?
I liked it. I liked it for the other teams, hated it for us. Do you know what I mean? Hated it for us. If anything, at one point I was like, do I just go back to sleep? Because this is actually horrendous. From the high that we've just come from last week to now this, it's like, it's like, do I go back to sleep? But yeah, loved it for everyone else. Loved it for the Ferrari boys.
McLaren as well.
Loved it for them.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, everyone seems to have had quite the time of it in Japan. Deni, you know, as you know, someone who was there reporting on it, and obviously probably in the thick of it in the Twitter reactions. How would you gauge, I guess, before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, how would you gauge, I guess, the fan reaction to the Japanese Grand Prix?
I think most of my followers were like, why did I lose sleep over there? It was actually, fan reaction wasn't the greatest. I think people were, it's what Thandie said, it's when you come in from a high, you're expecting a lot more and you're expecting people to just be like, okay, everyone's excited to see more. Everyone's excited to see more of what you saw last week. And even if it wasn't as good, if it wasn't going to be as good as Singapore, you still expected a bit of, you know, we're there, we're competing, we're P3 at least, we're going to get a front row or something. But it wasn't any of that from straight the get-go. FP1, FP2, FP3, it just all showed like, yeah, Rebels back. We're just going to have the same weekend again, 30 seconds ahead, 5 minutes, news first. And so I think everyone just grasped that from the very first moment. And then everyone just started realizing that there's no way around it. And it was what it was, unfortunately.
Yes, I think like one of those races where I think, look, I don't think there's been any consistent point. I think even last year, I guess with last year, we just didn't know what the hell was going to happen. And, you know, we kind of took what we would get. But I think this year we kind of, those who support Mercedes would, or, you know, or support drivers within Mercedes would expect, because that's the thing now. I think Mercedes affiliated supporters would want a semblance of consistency from race to race, and when that doesn't happen, you know, I think it can, you know, it's disappointing when you're not getting, you know, a level of consistency from race to race, and you know, you have highs one week and then lows the other week, and you're waking up at 6 a.m. and it's like, what the fuck am I even up for?
The most astonishing thing about this weekend was the car wasn't bad. Like, looking at reviews from Lewis and George, they felt good.
The car wasn't even, the pit stops weren't even bad.
Well, yeah, it's like, we're good, we're in a good space, and the car feels good, and we're giving it everything, and we're able to go through the corners. It's just that even when we're good, we're slow, and it's, what do we do? Where do we go from here? And obviously, as a fan watching, you don't grasp the fact that the car isn't bad this weekend, but your isn't bad, isn't good either. So everyone's just like, oh, okay, P5, I guess.
Yay, I guess. I'll take it. I don't know, man. Just something about watching the constructors just go down the hill at 5 a.m. in the morning was just, you know, it really started off my week fresh. Do you know what I mean? It really gave me the bounce
Yeah.
for the rest of the week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really gave me the joy that I've brought onto this podcast today. Do you know what I mean?
Radiating. Honestly. Yeah.
Radiating.
Like the sun in the Teletubbies. That's you right now.
Do you know what I mean?
Little bundle of joy in the sky.
Do you know what I mean? I just bring so much happiness to this pod today.
Honestly, I can feel it. Hey, look, speaking of bundles of joy, let's just get into it. George Russell, eh?
How about them George Russells, eh?
How about the George Russells? Woo! Wowzers.
You know what? I always preferred the little mini series that Disney used to bring out, and it used to be little mini series where it was just Buzz Lightyear, The Adventures of Buzz without Woody. I always enjoyed it. And do you know what? I never even actually liked Woody as a character in Toy Story anyway. I didn't enjoy him. I didn't enjoy anything to do with him, his love interest, Jessie. I didn't enjoy the donkey. If anything, I thought he was a bit egotistical, if anything.
You know what, yeah? Do you know the thing with Woody? I'll tell you the thing with Woody, yeah?
Yeah.
Woody's always it's about us. It's all about him.
Always about him. That's so correct.
That's actually true.
We'd have a whole adventure, a whole rescue mission, and he would make it about him. Constantly, never the aliens, never even Jessie, and never about Buzz. And that is why it kind of ruined Toy Story for me. Can't lie.
We do not need Toy Story 2, 3, 4 for 4 episodes of Woody gets us into some shit in the name of team.
Every time in the name of team.
Look, let's if you don't know, we're talking about George Russell, and look, let me set the scene, Deni, and then I'll come to you. Right?
Yeah. We
have a situation where Lewis is qualified ahead of George, let's leave out, I guess into the first corner, there's some contact with Perez. There's definitely damage on Lewis's car, which kind of compromises him in the first few laps. I think as he's getting to grips with that, a couple of occasions where he kind of goes wide, especially into Degner. I do remember George manages to close up on him, does a move into the chicane. Lewis comes back at him down the straight, takes a position back. George comes on the radio asking if we're fighting each other or fighting other people. Let's talk about that part first before we get into the stuff that happened towards the end. Well, we've got the beginning, a middle, and an end, George, this weekend. Let's start with the first part. I guess for you, a big issue with, I think, the first cracks in the George Russell armor with the Mercedes fan base has been his radio calls. And I think if there ever was a radio call which typified everyone's kind of distrust and disdain for George, it was this radio message that he put out, essentially asking why the team are fighting, why we're fighting, are we fighting? I mean, this is slowing us down. When he was, the aggressor who then got passed again.
Right.
I guess for you, I didn't think we've I think maybe when we were having the podcast, which was a while ago, I don't know if there was this level of strain around George. But I guess for you, how do you find George's radio messages? And I guess in the context of what we saw in Japan, I guess, do you think that he's justified in what he's saying or not? I'm asking this. Please give your most honest answer.
Okay. Honestly, I don't think it's justified, just because if you're asking, first, as you explained, George Russell made the move on Lewis Hamilton for P7, right? He made the move. The only thing that happened was the Lewis lined him up down the straight and passed him back. And so my understanding is after that passing, George still wanted to do a little tussle, and Lewis did a little stay in your lane. You know what I'm saying? And so in my head, it's not justified of him asking, are we fighting each other or everyone else? Because you made the move, you wanted that P7. And so if you want that place, it's only warranted that someone in front of you is going to want the place back, if that makes sense. So the only reason, like, even if it's like, oh, in the heat of the moment and all of that, like, which is understandable because when you're in the car, you're saying stuff. I was about to cuss, but you're saying stuff in the car, right? But then if you're the one making the move on someone, then expect them to, if they have the power and the strength and the pace to do it, expect them to take the place back and want to take the place back. I think one thing that George wasn't accounting for was Lewis actually passing again and then blocking that little move that he made. That's when they went wide, didn't it? And so I think that's what he wasn't accounting for. And I think that's the one thing that maybe threw him a little off the edge, was kind of like, oh, I was warranted that place. I needed to be in P7. And that's the only thing that for me didn't make sense. It's like, if you wanted to fight, then he gave you a fight back. And if we're here to tussle, then let's tussle like real men. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that was the only thing. It's like, why are you asking if you're fighting when you brought the fight? Like, you're asking, are we boxing when you're the one who put the gloves on? What do you mean? So for me,
I don't know, man. Like, the whole thing just screams entitlement. How are you so entitled in a race at which we're all supposed to be trying to get the one goal? And then why is it always when George enters the kitchen, he can't take the heat? We saw it last week and we've seen it previously before. Like, the man cannot take the heat. It's just not making sense. I'm seeing right now, Mario just put a comment in where he said, George Russell after the race about a comment. When you're in the car, 48 laps in, giving it everything, trying to make a I don't know that word. Strategy work.
Suboptimal.
I haven't got my glasses. Suboptimal.
Yeah.
When you're trying to make a suboptimal strategy work, that radio is a tool to release frustration. That, I'm afraid, is bullshit. That radio is a tool for you to communicate with your team and let them know how, like, where you're going, what you're doing. The tool for frustration is putting your foot down on that and making sure we get to where we need to go to. And George just can't do that. Sorry.
I like that you were gonna say which foot, but you couldn't.
I was.
Wait,
I was thinking, is it a button? I literally clocked on
It's so pedal.
But you're anyway, go forward.
You're right.
Go master. But yeah, fuck that guy, man. I'm so sorry. Like, I think I've been holding off and saying fuck George Russell, but I can fully now just say fuck him. I can't be asked. It does not feel like anything for me now.
Best. I can't say that yet.
Are we there?
I'm there.
Are we there?
I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet? Okay.
No.
Fuck George Russell. But before you guys... I'm so sorry, Deni's dad, okay? I'm so sorry. And do you know why it's fuck George Russell? Sorry. Do you know why it's fuck George Russell? Because there's literally been so many chances given from me, who was first very skeptical about him in the first place. Shout out Paris, who did note that out on the internet at 6 a.m. in the morning. And now I just feel like after last week's event, you cried and you cried and we coddled you and you coddled you. But why is this crying now being used as a weapon for you to get your own way in a team that's supposed to be on the same goal? That is my question. And so for that reason, that's why I'm just like, fuck George Russell. That does not mean I do not, before they come for me, but I don't care if you come for me because I'll come for you. That doesn't mean that I am completely erasing all of George's efforts as a driver. George is a good driver. That's why he's in that Mercedes seat. However, George does not know how to work as a team. He does not know the concept of a team, and he does not know the concept of working with another member of staff to get an eventual goal. So that is why I have concluded it is fuck George Russell.
Could this be? No, I just want to pick your brain on that. Could this be because of how long he's been at Williams? Because looking back at Williams' days, George Russell has always been the star. George Russell's always been the one who's putting on pole, getting that podium. He's the one who's doing all
Star
the laps,
boy,
doing all of
heading
that.
towards
Exactly,
amazing
yeah.
stuff.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. And not even on a shady way, in the sense that he's actually sitting in a place where he gets privileged treatment and he's the one who's fighting for everything. And he deserved that, obviously, because he was the top driver and he was the driver who was the only one doing the things in the Williams and getting the points and all of that. We saw his last season. Could that be translated into what he's doing now? Because he never had to be a team player in a team that's not scoring points. He never has to be a team player in a team that doesn't have strategy to even fight at the front. So maybe now coming into Mercedes, it hasn't sunk that, look, you have a teammate that's
I'm sorry, it
faster
hasn't
than
sunk.
you.
Deni, I think you're giving him too much. How is it not sunk in?
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I want to pick your brain on is, could it be the fact that coming from Williams, he hasn't realized that, look, there is someone that's faster than you, more experienced than you, more skilled than you, and someone that's always going to have priority. And even if he doesn't have priority, when you try to get your elbows out, he's not going to hand you the pie. You know what I'm saying? He's going to put his gloves on and say, okay, let's box then if you want to box.
You want to tussle? Let's tussle.
Exactly. And he hasn't handled, he's not handling that in the best way. And now his mask, as someone would say, starting to, you know
what's mad?
Flip.
I would say that when, do you remember how much Toto Wolff was on Bottas's arse, bro?
I knew you were going to bring that guy up.
Well, of course, because that's all everyone's freaking talking about online.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about
Let's talk about your son. Let's talk about your son, innit?
Like, Toto Wolff used to come on the radio and chastise Bottas. Like, he used to be like, hey, bruv, sort it out. Like, go faster. Bottas, we need more for you. I thought when George Russell was coming to Mercedes, I thought there was going to be a very strict program around George for his development, especially after what happened with him and Bottas, which everyone seems to reference when he slapped him on the head after the accident in Imola.
Yeah.
And Bottas was like, if he wants to drive in this seat, he needs to be Formula One, not Formula Renault or Formula Clio or whatever it was.
Yeah.
This was more Formula Clio. So I thought, okay, this guy is going to be like under lock and key. They're letting this boy run wild. George Russell is them kids in the supermarket that are running wild, opening up all the fucking Panda Pops, embarrassing their parents. You're like, bruv, get a hold of your child.
Don't you fucking dare. Don't you fucking get over there.
Get your ass over it. You're in.
When we get home.
Kids, you're in the freaking checkout. The kids are just like stamping on your shoes, putting on your jeans. Where's the parents? Where's the fathers? There's no fathers in the house.
There's no fathers. Absentee fathers. Unfortunately. And you know what? I'm sick of this conversation about us bending the rules and like people think we're bending the rules for Lewis because Lewis is the golden boy. No rules are being broken. When you are told you are supposed to adjust to your environment. You're not supposed to bring your Williams glory days into this, bro. Nobody gives a fuck about your Williams glory days. The only thing that your Williams glory days have got you is into this team. So now you need to show us why the fuck we let you into this team. Heavy on the term team. I'm so sorry I keep cussing. We need to put a parental advisory on this one, guys.
I mean, is there?
Is it there?
Oh yeah, explicit is there. Don't you worry. Look at that. Yeah. No, you're right, Thandie. You're very right.
Yeah, 100%.
You're very right. And I think, Deni, like further to that point, I guess I'll ask you guys, I guess moving on, George decides to take on, as Thandie read out earlier, the suboptimal strategy, which was the one stop, because essentially, for those who don't know, suboptimal, basically optimal strategy, as Deni always likes to show us every Thursday or so, which Pirelli gives us. Is it Thursday? Is it Wednesday?
No. What is it? The strategy? Strategy is race day.
No. When the Pirelli give the tire thing, is that?
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, okay, cool. So the optimal strategy is what they think is the fastest way to get around the track. So normally, I think for this race, clearly it was a 2-stop.
But that's on Sunday. That's on race day.
Oh, that on Sunday. Okay,
The
sorry.
strategy, yeah.
I should have just let you. Look at me mansplaining your job. I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
And then, so for this race, it would have been a 2-stop strategy. They were saying due to the higher tire degradation that a 3-stop might have been the way to go. And obviously, George took what is called suboptimal, so less than optimal route of going down a 1-stop, which would mean with a higher tire deg, he would have to make both sets of tires go longer than they probably should have gone in the first place. I guess your thoughts on, Mercedes gambling with that strategy, but I guess then George's, and we get to a point where Lewis Hamilton
He did boy math.
Like Chris just put in the group chat, guys. He just put, he did boy math.
He did boy math.
He did, but you know what? I've got a series of tweets from Chris. Chris is not happy.
Chris is not happy.
Not happy. But if Lewis cruises up, look, we're later on in the race. Lewis cruises up to George. We have a situation where, in any other world, I think George is asked to let Lewis invert the cars because Lewis is on a better strategy. He's going quicker and he's got Sainz closing up to him behind. Pardon me, sorry. The ensuing drama that comes from that, which is added to, I think, the annoyance that people have with George Russell. Where do you guys sit on that? Do you think that, he cited Lewis should stay, within 1 second. So I've got DRS to keep Sainz behind me. Let's use this thing as a team. I think you cited the fact that Lewis pushed him wide earlier. And Mario, could you get the quote where I think he said something along the lines of, Lewis pushed me wide earlier. The least he could do is this, which
Lewis does not owe you nothing, sir.
The least for the
Lewis
team
don't owe you fuck all, mate.
I guess. Look, are these not? Let me throw him some bail. Are these not the like he said, the wailings of a man who knows that he has lost any kind of positioning within the race, in the season, in the team, perhaps. And these are just, he's clutching at straws, he's grasping at thin air, he's just trying to maintain whatever he has from this race, and he's trying to do everything to get it in his way. Is that such a bad thing that he should be crucified for online by Team LH? I ask this as someone who asks questions on a podcast to get a balanced point of view.
Baby, Jesus was crucified because he was a good man. George Russell's not a good man. He's not the good person in this. Okay? So heavy on that. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Jesus was put on those he was put on the nails of the cross after he was damned by his own friends.
Yeah, no, they forgot him still.
They went behind his back.
Yeah, no.
They were on the team radio saying, is this a battle?
Can I?
He's not Jesus in this.
What strategy is Jesus on?
The Last Supper.
Can I get the same wine as Jesus, please?
Can I get the same one as Jesus, please? You know what? Last week, there was a little bit on the episode where Nyasha first said that George Russell was giving white women tears, and we all, oh my God, we'll get cancelled for this. And then we changed it to crocodile tears. No, I would like to double back and certify that those tears, the salt in those tears, are white women tears. Direct correlation from the same family tree.
Shout out to the white women who made me feel better about saying that in our comments. Like you're real ones. There was a few white
Same
women
family
like
tree.
they were like, "Oh yeah, no, they're white women tears." I was like, you know what? Thank
Fair
you so
enough.
much.
If
They are
you
white
say
women
it,
tears, and they
fair
come from
enough.
direct correlation. And like this is the same thing I said last week. Like that one person in your office who is smiling your face but sending emails about you leaving your sandwich in the fridge. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? There's always that one person. She came in 5 minutes late. Is she allowed to wear a crop top to the office? Yes, I am, bitch.
The one always reporting you to HR. HR is always calling you. You already know. First meeting in the morning, Thandie gets to the
Do you know what I
office
mean?
straight to
Thandie,
HR.
hi. Could we have a word? Can I have a word, please?
What are you
Hey,
doing
Tam, can I have
today?
a word, please?
Have a quick catch up. Quick catch
Can I
up.
have a quick chat, please? Are you free in the afternoon? Can we have a quick chat?
I think
That's
honestly, regarding to strategy, in my head, I'm just thinking, you made your bed, lie in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you chose, and this is something that when I was discussing, I made a prediction of like strategy, who was gonna do what. It was like under like a sky comment. I just left it there just for myself, and like a lot of people obviously saw that and started commenting. And someone was like, "Oh, do you think Lewis might start on the hard tire?" And I said, "Well, that's bold. I don't think he would do that. But if anyone's gonna go long, it's probably gonna be George Russell."
yeah.
And because that's the type of person that he is. He likes to gamble on maybe safety car or something's going to come in and he can get a free pit stop. And so I thought, if anyone's going to sit on a hard tire, it's going to be George Russell. He didn't, but he still proved my point of is the one who always wants to go long and like risk these things. What for? I don't understand. Sometimes it pays off, but other times it's not going to pay off. You know, and so for me with the strategy thing, it's like you made your bed, lie in it. You knew that degradation was high. And I had so many comments from George Russell about degradation. And the whole weekend, he was the one saying, deg is high, deg is high, deg is high. To stop, we saved the hard tires for a reason. There's a reason why coming into the weekend after FP1, you sit with your team, you debrief, and you say, okay, what's the strategy? We're going to save hard tires. Right? Coming into the race, you know, going into quali, you know why you have those two hard tires because you need to use them. Everyone's going to use them if they have them. McLaren did it as well, right? And so for you to come in, use the mediums and say, you know what? I'm just going to go straight with these mediums and then we'll switch and do a one stop. Why? And I understand that in the moment he's thinking, yeah, maybe a win, maybe a podium, let's fight for a higher position. But those tires are going to fall so hard. You're not going to have any pace. You're not going to be able to fight for anything. You're going to drop back because everyone else is going to pit. You know what I'm saying? And once they pit, it only takes at least 5 laps and you're done. Right? So in my head, it's like, you can't really complain about something that you chose to do. And damn Mercedes for letting you do it. Because it's like, why is your mom letting you put your hand in the oven?
Exactly. Why is your mom
Do you
letting
know
you
what
play
I'm
in
saying?
traffic?
Do you know what I'm saying? And then
Because you cried.
you can't call anyone out on that. Like you made that call and that's you have to lie in it. And then you let everyone else, if you made your call and people said, okay, cool, you want to do that, do that. Let everyone who chose not to do it have their share in the race, have their way out of whatever shenanigan you're into, right? So if Lewis chose not to pit and he wants to go fight for higher position, that's not your place to say, oh, we're a team, he needs to slow down to help me out. You're crippled because you chose to go play in traffic, innit? You chose to go out. You know what I'm saying? You chose to put your hand in the oven, so now you can't write with your right hand. Now you want to say, please don't write with your right hand as well, so I can also get the benefit. That
It
makes
comes
no
down
sense.
to parenting, really. You know, like when you have a toddler and you see them fall, and you know, sometimes parents be like, wait, just leave him.
Yeah.
He'll get it. I think it was
That's
too
the
much
only
cuddling,
thing.
you
It's like,
know?
if
I'm
you
not a
want
parent. Listen,
I'm not a parent.
I'm not
I
a
don't
parent,
know.
but
Yeah, but it's just about, thank God.
God.
But yeah, it's just about the fact that if you called the shots, if George had said he wants to go long and Mercedes had said go pit, people would have slandered Mercedes and said, oh,
yeah,
but he wanted to have the strategy and he wanted to do this and you didn't let him and he was aiming for big. Well, he aimed for big and he didn't get it. And I feel like that's
yeah.
the bed he needs to lie on. And it's like, well, people were faster. you were going to lose positions and you were going to end P7, P whatever. You're even lucky you didn't stay out of the points because of other people that hit it. And that's it. It's great that he's ambitious. It's great that he wants to fight for more because at some point he was fighting Norris on paper, not on track, on paper he was. And Mercedes was aiming for a higher position for him, but it didn't happen. And it's unfortunate that it didn't happen, but that's racing. And boohoo, you chose that strategy. You know what I'm saying?
Aye, man, I'm not going to lie, man. You lot digging into George looking at fun. Let me get mine. Let me get mine.
It's kind of like that meme where everyone's just joking. Y'all want to jump me? Be honest.
Where y'all at? I'm not bet.
Where he at? I'm pulling up.
My Tim's on. Stomp on this dude. George, don't piss me off, bro. I'm actually sick of that. Like, I actually defended George. Like, I defended George for so long because in my mind, I didn't think that I genuinely believed it, yeah. I believed it when he came in. I'm here to learn from Lewis. Lewis is my idol, this, that, and the other, yeah. And you know what? I get it. You want to be top dog. You want to be the man. You want to imprint your pace. Let me tell you now, top teams are not looking at a man who can't keep his tires crash out on his own last week. They're not looking at a man doing mad strategy calls from the car and then getting overtaken and bullied the next week in Japan. I'm sick and tired of this shit, bro. You don't have the facilities for the shit that you're trying to do. Big man, learn some tire preservation. Because it's costing you. You were never going to make a one-stop strategy work. And at the point where you realized it wasn't going to work, honestly, either just stop again. Because they were saying to him after about 6-7 laps, you're 3/10 down on the pace that we need you to do, right? It wasn't going to happen. Bail out, choose it, but he was headstrong. They chose track position. My issue, honest to God, my issue, I think we said this, is Mercedes. Why is Toto Wolff with a cast on his arm or on his knee or wherever they fixed up in hospital, why is he having to get on the blower and say to a man, hey, get this prick out of the way? Why is he in the way? Why are we fucking around? What is going on? What is going on? We used to blame James Vowles for everything that was going wrong in Mercedes' strategy. He's left. It's not got better, bro. Yeah. It's not got better. Like, and I'm sorry, James. I spoke so bad on your name.
I'm sorry, James.
The things you used to say about James.
Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I owe you an apology because I don't even know what's going on in this team anymore. Like, if me and you, and you, Deni, and the people at home watching, and the people at home hating, if all of us collectively are watching something with 10 times less data than these man, and are able to see the strategy that needs to be done, what the hell are these men doing on the pit wall? Why are you there? These men have got glorified paddock passes, bro. Get them the fuck out of there. Stay in Brackley if you're going to do that shit. Why are you there? Like, why is a man in a hospital bed watching from an iPad making decisions that you, man, on a pit wall are struggling to make? You're nearly costing us.
And you know what? He had a direct line as well. He knew it was going to happen. He knew he'd have to phone.
Yeah.
I can imagine him. Blood pressure going up.
Right.
Mr. Wolf, please sit down. Sit down, Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf, please. Don't unplug that thing. I must go. I must leave.
These pricks.
Please. And his wife, and Susie's like, please. Toto, you said you'd stop. Toto, you said you wouldn't phone. Move, Susie. Get the driver downstairs.
Yeah. Why is George? Oh no, honestly, no. Bad Austrian accents aside. Like, I don't understand with Mercedes, and it makes me scared for, okay, let's say by some fucking miracle next year, this car is quick enough. So I do actually just want to read that.
I don't think it's so far off a miracle anymore, though. Like, I mean, if you had said it in January, I'd been like, yeah, it's a miracle, but I don't think it's that far off a miracle. I think there's just some inner workings that need to be done within the team.
Well, I think, well, yeah, I guess so. Let's say in the highly unlikely chance that, okay, let's say in the unlikely chance, not highly unlikely, in the unlikely chance, but fucking, I'll take it, grateful and fortuitous chance that Mercedes are, Mercedes are the challengers to Red Bull, right?
Right.
We're seeing things from this team right now that do not give me the confidence that we could execute a championship winning season. Let me ask you this. There's a lot of talk online about whether or not there should be a clear number one and number two from the outset, the same way essentially Red Bull have with Max and Perez. But I guess the same way that Ferrari don't have that, you know, Charles and
don't.
And how's that worked out? And how's that worked out? And how's that worked out
It's not
Ferrari?
working out great because
yeah, it's not working out great. Yeah,
science is you know doing better than Charles in the standings, even though Charles is the golden boy, and essentially science is there filling space until he goes to Audi, I guess, right? So
there is no way. Sorry to interrupt because already interrupted. There is no way you're going to because. One thing that Fred Vasseur said, for instance, in one of the interviews is your two drivers are never going to be both happy because one is always going to be behind the other, right? So there's no way in a competitive sport, you're going to have two drivers that are equal because it's always going to be that battle of, okay, so who do we favor? How does it work? Who gets priority in certain things, right? And so I feel like having number one is so important, not because you want to prioritize a driver, but because you send instructions telling the drivers, well, look, this is the person that is going to lead. This is the person who's going to think about Wolfpack. Not everyone's the leader. You can't have all of them saying, this is the way we're going to go.
Exactly. There's got to be one Beyonce.
Exactly. You need to have a leader. You need to have someone that's going to say, this is the way we're going to go. If we're splitting strategies, this is the strategy that I want. This is the strategy that you should get. And then it happens. Let's say, okay, Mercedes say Lewis Hamilton number one, George Russell number two. And then it so happens that George Russell's having a better race. Prioritize his race.
Yeah.
Prioritize George Russell. Give him the better strategy or let him undercut, let him do whatever he wants to do, but knowing that there is a leader in the team. Ferrari, for many, and I feel like Ferrari is slowly understanding that you need to have a priority driver, right?
That's what losing will do to you, though. Yeah.
Exactly, because for so long, they've been, the way you say that was shame face is so crazy. Because for so long, Ferrari just was basically winging it and saying, okay, let's give the strategy to Charles because he has a better pace. And then Carlos overtakes. Oh, okay, wait, scrap all of that. Let's do it to Carlos now. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you can't do that in the middle of the race when you're thinking, oh, we're about to go for P2. And then, what if George is aiming for P2 and then Lewis is the one in front? Who are you going to prioritize? Let's think. Let's use our brains, right? And I know amazing engineers, they have so many screens, but under pressure, it's not the easiest job. It's not the easiest thing to do. And so if you have a clear driver and you have a clear picture of whoever is in front, and this is our lead driver, this is who we're going to prioritize, then it's so much easier. It's so much easier to say, well, George, I know you want to fight Lando Norris. Unfortunately, you don't have the pace at the moment. You're going to have to pit. Right? Oh my gosh, no, because I'm in front and I want to do this. Yeah, but no, you can't do it. Lewis has better pace. Do you know what I'm saying? And Singapore was a perfect example of Ferrari slowly starting to come to terms with the fact that you might need to prioritize a driver because they saw what Sainz had, the package that he had the pace. What did they say on the radio? We're going to sacrifice Leclerc.
Yeah.
And they did. And
Leclerc was happy with it. Charles took that on the chin. Very well.
He actually did. He was a very good team player because there is no I in team. Say it with me. No I.
There is I in team.
And so
but there is in win.
That's what I think. You need to have a clear idea of who's your leader and who's charging, who's leading the pack and who's going to be at the front. And if it just so happens that you have to reverse the roles at a specific race, then so be it. But you can't just go in saying both our drivers are priority and both our drivers are going to, because both drivers are not going to get P2. Both drivers are not going to share the podium and share the win. It's not going to happen. And then if you don't have a clear strategy of what you're doing, you get what you saw. Or we fighting each other or someone else because you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And so your drivers don't know what they're doing either. And they're going to want to, assert dominance. And only the goats can,
There you go.
come on top.
There you go. There you go. Look. Yeah. Interesting. I think that it's going to be interesting how the rest of the season plays out with George and with Lewis. I guess quickly, if you had to take, because some people do, if you could take the best ever version of Valtteri Bottas back, whatever that was, whenever that was, would you take him back over George now?
No. My simple answer.
I'm really pissed that he asked that because it makes out the whole rant, the whole bit of this podcast just makes no sense now. Fuck's sake. Do you know what it is? You know what I compare it to, yeah? If you were born under a dictatorship, if you were born under Mugabe regime dictatorship, and then Mugabe dies and now you've got to take on another dictatorship, and then people start to say like, well, it was better when we had Mugabe. No, darling, because we were under the dictatorship and we're still under a dictatorship. So that is how I'd put it. In terms of picking between the two, sorry, I think I froze.
No, you're still there. We can still see you. Still see you.
Do you know what? Okay.
An answer.
Be honest.
I don't think this answer, because you've got to be logical about it because it's two different cars as well. Remember that. It's two different cars as well. You can't
take that into account.
Take it in. Okay. I would take okay, fine. I'd take Valtteri Bottas. Fuck off.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. I would.
Would you actually?
This is like finding out like your mate's like a flat earther or some shit.
Would I though? Wait, would I? Let me actually think this thoroughly.
Back the chat. No, because there's people who
because Nyasha did not back his chat last week when he was freaking saying Perez and the people's them. Anyway.
Would you actually?
I'm trying to think because I prefer, obviously I'm thinking in terms of car. But if we had George in an even better car, we would see an even worse version of him. Would we not?
Yeah, but we thinking though is, in my head I'm thinking, if we have a Valtteri Bottas in the second seat, we need like a Lewis Hamilton that's not ready to retire anytime soon. Because Valtteri isn't going to be your next world champion.
All right, fine.
And I say this with all the love.
We'll take George, okay? But I don't agree with either decision. I don't agree with either one. I'm sorry, I don't agree with either one.
And the revisionism is so funny. And I think some people come from a place of, respect, first and foremost. And that's one thing that I was talking on Twitter today is the fact that George is so lucky, not lucky to be in the seat because I know he deserves to be in the seat and he's good to, for instance, I was one person who didn't vouch for George when I started, being into F1. I thought there's drivers that are so much better than him and probably still do in terms of certain small aspects. But today I see how great of a driver he is. He has a future and he is going to be a world champion. But in my head, I'm thinking, you're so lucky that your teammate is the most successful driver in the history of Formula One. It's not in this era. It's in the
It's the
history of
history.
Formula One. Since he joined from day one, he's making history, right? You're so lucky that in the debrief, you hear this man speak. You're so lucky that you go to the factory and you see a design in the wind tunnel and you hear this man giving his feedback. You're so lucky that you do a lap and then you compare your lap to his lap, his telemetry. You know how many people would die to see a Lewis Hamilton telemetry? Do you know what I'm saying? To say, where am I doing it wrong?
I'm grateful.
You know what I'm saying? And so
grateful.
in my head, it's not. In my head, I'm thinking, if you're not fighting, if you don't want to fight for P5 and P6, which is what Mercedes doesn't want to do, right? P5, like Lewis said, this is not about drivers' championship because we're not even close. It's about constructors and it's about getting our car back to where we deserve to be, where we think we should be. If you're thinking that and if you're aligned with that, and if you sit down every day with Toto and you listen to those words and you're like, yeah, what about team? Then why aren't you just taking advantage of the fact that your teammate is one of the greats and you learn from that? Because once you have a good car, you're gonna.
This is also what Chris was saying, that Chris said something at the start of the podcast that I was like, wow, like I like words. That was a good sentence. He said that George Russell weaponizes the word team. Gunshot, please.
I got you.
Thank you.
Don't worry about that. I was a bit late, sorry, because I was getting up Chris's thread. Under,
the thread.
He's got a thread. Chris was fuming. He was on one.
Not happy. Chris, hey, George Russell got 0 haters. Chris is dead.
If George Russell has one hater, it's Chris. If he's got none, Chris is dead.
Chris said. So I posted about Valtteri and I said, look, we used to hate Lewis too, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure Chris will have it up on the screen here. Chris said, and go follow Chris, he's a good fellow. BB wouldn't have pushed for this car design to last another season. GR only wanted it because it's better than what he had at Williams. And then he could hold over Ham's head that he got a win. VB had a few off races and a weird off season when it counted the most, but GR is not that guy.
Not that guy. Chris has been hanging out with too many Brits. Let's go.
He keeps showing that he isn't racing others. He's only racing Ham. He knows online everyone started looking at their quali head-to-head, so what does he do? Changed his whole quali setup just to try and beat Ham somewhere this season. VB would at least work together. He would also not question and fight the team on orders, costing Lewis and the team higher points. When do we realise that GR is not that guy and a failed future for the team? He is not going
to last. He said.
Not going to last.
He's not going to last. I can let you feel the passion on that thread. I'm going to retweet that thread.
Yeah, no, give that a boost. At first, I was like, who is it? I'm so used to people just disagreeing with me. I was about to flame this guy, and I was like, it's my fucking editor. But look, enough about George. I think we've got into it. Look, I think for me, I think one, we are respectfully, and I say this with the biggest amount of respect.
Of course,
we are amongst some people who started watching F1 after 2021.
21.
Yeah.
And a lot of the opinions that they might have seen about Valtteri Bottas are
limited to 2021.
Now you're seeing a lot of fan cams. You're seeing a lot of Lewis saying he was my favorite teammate. You're seeing a lot of respect between them. I love that for them too. They got there in the end. Let me tell you.
In the end.
When it started.
Valtteri Bottas.
Go on.
Valtteri 2.0, Valtteri 3.0, 4.0.
Yeah.
This guy used to come back every year. One year he came back with a beard and they're like, he's going to beat Lewis Hamilton this year. Like, it was a beard.
It was so weird.
It was mad. Like, you man weren't, respectfully, you weren't outside for that. Even if you were outside, you will remember, like, he used to do everything possible to try and beat Lewis Hamilton. In 2021, There was a Spain not moving over incident. He went for fastest lap in Zandvoort for no fucking reason, which was
And then there was like this
That
weird phase
podcast
where he
was
just
insane.
stopped
That
turning
quick
up.
stop F1 podcast and Zandvoort. After that one, that was great. Do you remember that?
Hey,
Do you remember
Good
that?
remember Mexico was when we started calling him our stepson because he just moved out of the way. You've never seen two people so pissed off at one driver. If you want to watch quick stop F1 history, go and watch Mexican Grand Prix 2021. Go and watch our reaction to that, because you will see a pair of people that had it. And poor Tomo, he was just there like, wow, these two are going in on this track. But we would like, so I'm just saying, there was a time. There was a time, even in 2021, I think until Bottas got that Alfa Romeo contract where he was I actually thought it was on. Like, I actually thought it was on. And he did move over. He did move over eventually when he was out of the title race. Other than that, Lewis was just giving him spankings. What I would also say is, I really loved Lewis's little flick of the wrist when he was next to George. And he just, when... Look
at the wrist.
The parents like...
when you...
It's a backhand. Boy, we don't...
You know...
Wait
till we get him.
Black people would understand, bro.
You know what? On this podcast, we laugh so much about being beaten by parents. We do it a lot. I've noticed. This is not the first time we've laughed at being beaten by parents. It's not for the week.
Not for the week, but pressure makes time. Actually, please don't beat your kids. Don't do it.
Don't beat your kids.
Don't do it. We're very scarred.
But I will say, when your kid drops something, let them learn that there are consequences to doing things, because you will literally raise a little mini George Russell who is entitled to 7th place.
Yeah. Kind of.
Strange.
Look, we've gone for nearly an hour about George Russell. I hope you guys are happy about that. You're welcome. You guys are looking at tissue. Should we just get into stars and donkeys? I feel let's let's start with stars, because we've just spent an hour dunking on a man. Who wants to go first with star of the day?
I'll go first. I would like to give my... Pardon?
Nothing.
Say that again?
I said what hospitality? Carry on.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. I'm so sorry. But Deni wanted to go first. Anyway.
No, I said you go first.
Yeah, thank you, Deni. I'm gonna give it to Carlos Sainz. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to Carlos Sainz. I didn't give it to him last week. I think the momentum has continued since last week and even the week before, to be fair. And I thought he kept really good pace. And I thought he was good. So I am actually going to give the glory and the stars to Carlos Sainz.
Even though he was P6?
I
don't get it. It's just like a carryover from last week.
It feels like it.
What's going on here?
Do you know what? Like, Carlos Sainz has decided to show out. And I was watching him, trying to give him a chance, trying to see what people like about him. And I'm ready to kind of give him a small bit of props.
Good,
so, he's actually really good.
I've been saying this for years and people were dunking on me. He's actually good.
Exactly. So, yeah. I will give my little props to lovely Carlos Sainz, because why the hell not? So, yeah.
You do you.
I mean, I could have given it to the McLaren boys. I will. Okay.
I'm gonna give
boys.
I'm gonna give mine to Oscar Piastri.
But I was gonna say I'm not giving it to Lando Norris, because what he did as well was very entitled. I think Oscar could have actually fucking done a bit, and he wasn't given the chance because Lando was on the radio shouting and hollering. And
so, you know what it is? Let me just. Sorry to interrupt, but you know what it is about Oscar? I love that he's respectful. And I don't want to make comparisons because obviously they're completely different drivers, but see how Lando Norris, who's more experienced, has been on the team for longer, knows what he's doing, he's a very good racer at that, says, we're going to lose both positions. And Oscar says, sure, I'm going to get out of the way. And they reverse. Do you know what I'm saying?
I honestly felt like Oscar should have just continued doing his thing. Like, I think he would have actually kept going. Like, I just feel it was, he was never actually given the chance.
Yeah, no, which he could have, but he's a rookie and it's his first year in Formula One, but it's also his first year in McLaren. And he doesn't know how things work there. And he's seeing this driver that's been there and that's been in the podium before and is saying, look, the strategy is wrong. Let's revert the cars. And he complies, right? And at the end, both get a good result because both are on the podium. Do you know what I'm trying to get at?
Mario just said it was insanely mature comment for a rookie because Oscar called a swap with Lando a smart thing and said he didn't have the pace to beat Lando. And I love that, you know.
Do you know what I'm getting at?
If you're in a group chat with your boy Woody, just have a word, you know. This is how we conduct ourselves when we don't know what to do. We don't go on the radio and start screaming. This is how we conduct ourselves, lads.
Right?
Shout out Oscar, man.
I think, and it's not only for the podium and the way he drove, it's also the way he conducts himself in races. And he puts himself in a position where he's like, you know what? I don't have the capacity. Like, I'm not able to carry this through. Someone else needs to do it, and it's for the better of the team. If I get this podium, great for me. But if I don't, then at least someone else got it. And I'm happy that my teammate's going to get it because it's team for the point. It's points for the team. And we've seen Oscar miss podiums before because he didn't have the pace. And he was not moaning about it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that, oh, yeah, he does. And no one can say Oscar doesn't have the passion because he does. That's why he's there. No one can say he doesn't have that fire in him. Oh my gosh, because someone else has so much more than him. He's a good racer. He knows how to pace himself, and he knows to say, "Well, I give up. I don't have it. Someone else has it." Right? Yeah. So much so that when his team came, I think he was like late on the race, and his team came on and said, "Look, you don't have the pace. If we were to pit you for softs and you lose 3 positions, what will you do?" He calmly said, "I'd pit." Because he knows he's dropping off and he needs to pick it back up. He could have said, "No, I've got this. I'm going to go long." And then he just drops back all the way to P10. Then what? Yeah. So my start of the day is Oscar. I love that. His race was phenomenal. I'm glad he got a podium and I hope he gets many more.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. Let's definitely bring a round of applause for Oscar Piastri. Not many get a podium.
Shout out Carlos Sainz as well. You won't hear that from me again, though. Sorry.
No, that's cool. I'm so happy we heard it. You know, shout out Carlos Sainz.
Shout out Carlos Sainz.
There you go. In fact, no, we're just giving the clapping.
I didn't even know we had that.
Just the clapping.
Not the cheer.
No cheer. So, like a church. So, look, Oscar, really good. I think we're witnessing the birth of a new superstar.
We are.
I think it makes whatever Daniel Ricciardo was doing in that car absolutely embarrassing. If you want me to be perfectly honest.
About to go bring that garbage over to Yuki. Yikes.
So honestly, I'm just really happy for him. Really, really happy for him. And again, level-headed, great head on his shoulders. His mum's jokes on Twitter as well.
Is it?
Yeah,
I love his mom.
Is it?
Yeah,
Let me follow.
His mum's always replying under his shit, man. Like, she's such a Facebook mum. Do you know what I mean?
Meanwhile, my mum replied my tweet today, like, "Oh, sorry, it was for the Google search."
Yeah, no, that's crazy. It was such a random word as well, honestly.
I Googled it. It was medication for blood clotting.
Oh, wow. That's impressive. So yeah, I like it's definitely
shout out my mom.
So yeah, like I just Oscar Piastri, well done to Oscar. And look, it's going to be so interesting. That power struggle within McLaren, this season, look, at the end of the day, as much as he would have tried to fight, Lando ended up dunking like 18 seconds on his head top. So
exactly.
He didn't really have the facilities today, but But who knows in the future with
And
another
Nyasha,
season? Yeah.
see that? Is that of London Norris saying, yeah, we're going to lose both positions if this keeps happening? Is that entitlement or is that number one driver knows best?
Well, I think at the end of the day,
This is Lando Norris we're talking about, Denny.
I think
I know who he is. I know who he
Yeah.
is. I know Lando. I know his, I know we're not very
Yeah.
much team Lando, not even myself. But I'm saying in this
Sometimes.
specific scenario, is he being entitled by saying, let's invert the cars? Or is he saying, I've got more pace? He does not. We're going to lose both positions if we do. Is this? And I'm putting myself in a position of, I heard my driver say the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think for me, I think entitlement comes from a position where almost if someone calls you entitled, it's not a positive trait to have.
Yeah,
Entitlement
exactly.
is,
Yeah.
it's the thought of having something that really doesn't actually belong to you or shouldn't belong to you, right?
Yeah.
I think with Lando, whilst I did tweet out, like, has there ever been a time where Lando's just got past Piastri without having to call for team orders? He does seem to get on the radio a lot, but I think it's always been proven by the fact that he does normally have like better race pace.
Yeah.
And I think so. I think at this point he is entitled to say that because his race pace is better. Now, other people are getting on the radio and they're asking for things that they do not deserve. They are writing checks that they cannot cash. Okay? Just like their tires, the bank account's running out. Okay? And I'm sorry. That is entitlement. You cannot be entitled to superior strategy when you do not have superior racecraft.
When you don't have superior strategy either.
Bro, like someone in that team just sit him down and just be like, bro, shut up. Please. Please just drive the race. Anyway, George, bro, every week. It's not every week. My star of the day. God, there's actually quite a few people I wanted, but I think we've gone through it. Like, obviously, shout out to Lewis Hamilton. This wouldn't be this podcast if we didn't say it. Shout out to Lewis. Great. Look, what I will say is, I'm loving new contract Lewis, yeah? New contract Lewis doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck.
I was thinking that.
Man turned out with his Yamazaki whiskey, which is what I think he was drinking, by the way. I think it was Yamazaki. Shout out Yamazaki, best whiskey ever. And he was talking his shit. He was talking his shit. He's come a bit, I feel like he's got more of shares in Mercedes now. I think the contract included shares, big money. What y'all know about that?
I can say whatever I want as well.
Donations.
Add that number up with the one he said before. Now you're looking at one smart black boy. That is Lewis Hamilton. I think.
Put me anywhere on God's green earth. I triple my worth, motherfucker. You don't know what to do.
That was Ho for anyone who didn't know.
For anybody who didn't know, that was little Jay-Z interlude from the Black Album.
We actually need to keep making a playlist of the songs we sing.
We do, because we do sing a lot of songs.
We do sing a lot of songs. People don't know.
Maybe we can get Mario or Chris to note them down every time we sing them, and then we do a playlist.
We'll do a playlist. We'll start today. Quick stop.
Yeah, playlist. Starting now. That
was You Don't Know About Jay-Z. I just love the aggressiveness with Russell this weekend. I love the fact that he was behind all weekend. I presume, I don't know how he was in practice. I was not watching any session live this weekend. But I don't know. Was he ahead in practice, Deni, or was he behind?
Was he what?
Was Lewis ahead of Russell in practice?
No, he wasn't doing too well.
Yeah, that's what my general impression was.
He was always the only. I think FP3 was the only time. It was just P7 and George P8.
Okay,
but then P3 they really didn't do anything. But yeah, he was always.
I still think P3 is a pointless session, but that's neither here nor there. So for him to slap out a qualifying lap that was better than George's, great. And that's almost like classic Hamilton, kind of building up the weekend and then getting that lap in. And then, the aggressiveness into Spoon corner, giving him the old Max Verstappen, Brazil, Venezuela treatment. I don't mind that. That's in the rules now. You can do that. And then obviously, I think the racecraft, noticing George sending it up the inside in the chicane, changing his angle so they had a better exit, getting that slipstream, and that was without DRS, by the way, that move, and being able to get that move to stick, I just think was absolutely incredible. And like I said, the little don't you dare try that shit again. So all of that, I loved it, and I think his comments afterwards, I think were pertinent. I think coming out and saying that they should have, if they wanted to do that, they should have inverted us earlier. Then maybe George would have saved his tires so that he didn't waste them defending from me. I think that's a clear. Lewis is very careful with his words, and I think for Lewis to come out and say, "Look,
don't worry about me.
Don't worry about me. Worry about your own race, bro." Because every time George has been worried about Lewis, it's affected his race. I mean, I think about Canada when he was chasing Lewis and he slapped it in the wall. Monaco, he went down the escape route and then he asked, remember he got on the radio, he was like, can we swap these positions back? No!
Saying, can I have a go at Ocon? What for, mate?
No, you can't. No, you can't.
So odd. So freaking odd.
And then we get Singapore, and then we get obviously this weekend as well, where, you're mashing your tires up, bro, defending from Lewis when you should be. Everyone else is pulling the panties to the side. Everyone like, whoa, come through.
Everyone's putting what to the side?
You heard what I said. I said putting the panties to the side.
Okay. What?
Like one heifer. I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No, look, obviously the text positive. He can put it to the side for everyone wants to. All I'm saying is do it for your teammate as well. Don't do it for everyone else. And then the one person you're supposed to do it for, like, then don't deny the panties then. So that was that metaphor. Let's get into donkeys.
Donkeys.
Donkeys. Okay, I'm going to go first just because I saw Deni doing the Sergio Perez.
That was mine.
Sergio Perez.
That's everyone.
He's taking the piss.
That's everyone.
Do you know what that looked like? You know that song that's like, come on, baby, now come. Twist and shout. Come on.
I'm pissed we have to add that to the playlist.
Come on, baby, now.
We now have to add that to the playlist. Great.
Oi, Sergio Perez, tweet's so good. This guy is a menace. There's a tweet I want to read out. Yeah,
go on.
Oh, I love it.
It's so funny.
This is from Simon DAU, he's a good fellow actually.
Personally?
No, I don't, but it's just good news.
I think I know him.
Huh?
He updates a lot. I think I know him. Simon,
I like his profile. Anyway, 4 penalty points, 3 front wings, 2 retirements, all in a single race. Sergio Perez was a man on a mission to etch his name into the history books of the Japanese Grand Prix. This guy is finished.
An absolute finished Deni, an absolute menace to society. He's taking the piss at this point. I don't know if that little warm-up was just him taking the piss, but he's laughing at you guys. He's laughing at us. He said, it doesn't matter what I choose to do today because...
He tweeted, constructors back to back, vamos. And I'm like, blood, you ain't doing anything.
Vamos where, bruv? Vamos where? Where we going, bruh?
Where you going?
Honestly, I don't want tickets to this ride anymore. Vamos to your retirement immediately.
No!
Is that rude? I don't know if that's rude or not.
That's a
Please.
Because what are you doing? You're not doing anything. Your teammate is carrying.
Doing fuck all, mate.
Oh my goodness. But honestly, to be fair, he is a terrorist, yeah. But the only reason why that whole thing even happened was because of your star of the day, Thandie. Because Science went in for a little cap that didn't even make sense. And so you pushed her.
Why was Perez there? I'm not being funny, Natin. Perez should have been further up the grid anyway. He shouldn't have been there anyway. He should have been further up the grid.
That's that Bottas school of driving.
Like, trust me, if you're at the back, that's where they get pushed around. Ask Yuki Tsunoda. Ask all them Haas man. If you're at the back, Kevin Magnussen, that's what you're expected to be. So if he's got a man, he shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Perez
that big ass, fast ass machinery.
One is not enough. I will do it again. And then went and pumped Kevin Magnussen.
No, guys, I'm sorry. This guy has had multiple passing under the safety car violations, yeah? You've been in the sport, like how? Bro, you've been in the sport longer than some people on Twitter have been alive. This guy's taking a piss. How do you not know the rules? Then he's sending, honestly, Perez, when he is under pressure, I thought that I've seen a Max crack under pressure in 2021 when I saw Max crack under pressure. That's nothing compared to Sergio Perez under pressure. Terrorist around Monaco when he was trying to come from the back, barging into people. He loses all racecraft when he's trying to come through the field. And it's like, bro, you're literally in the quickest car ever made. Why are you doing bumper cars with Kevin Magnussen? What's going on here?
It's like you're part of the popular table. Why are you hanging out with the geeks? Why are you back there with them, man? And
I don't think he has a driving license, you know.
I don't have a driving license, and I wouldn't do that.
There you go. Honestly, he's embarrassing.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Huh?
That's what he's not.
Shout anybody who wants to pay for my driving lessons. By the way, I'm being serious. I'll start a Patreon right now. Patreon. I hate me. I really hate me.
It's crazy.
30 days of no alcohol.
Consensus, because I was going through the tweets as well of the donkey and stars of the day that you put out, and I think Sergio Perez was a donkey consensus.
Look, I just think we hounded Bottas out of Mercedes for far less than Checo Perez is doing right now. And in all honesty, the media silence on this guy is crazy. This guy does not deserve that seat right now. Like, and honestly, I can't fathom being that bad in that. Do you know how bad he is? He's so bad in that fucking seat that he's got Karun Chandok tweeting that Max's Japanese Grand Prix quali lap was one of the greatest quali laps he's ever seen. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Not Karun Chandok.
Like,
anything
what a demon it is. Like, oh my
Chandok.
God, Karun, say it without his cock in your mouth. Respectfully.
I've never seen a next level of dick riding in my life, bro. He's on his hands and knees, you know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're about to say.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're about to say. Listen, hey, I'm not saying it.
He's in a certain position that you would do if...
This guy's got Meg the Stallion knees.
Yeah, he's got Meg knees, and he's riding.
It's crazy.
Chris just put the most crazy. Chris, that is crazy. We're not reading that out.
Ooh.
We're not reading that one out. Chris, we're not reading that out, mate.
But Wowzers.
Chris is literally on one.
Wowza.
He's not happy. He's not
He's
happy.
not
But
happy.
anyway, look, those are my thoughts on Sergio Perez. Any more for any more? And then I can let you guys. Yeah, I guess Thandie is going to be on donkey as well. Did you have any more?
My donkey was definitely Perez. Yeah, I will continue to have him as my donkey until the end of the season, I reckon, unless somebody else does some bummy shit. But I don't think you can out-bum him at this point.
The Bum Olympics.
No one can, trust me, no one can out-bum him.
No.
And do you know what? He actually gave me the ick when he was doing that run because that's the most bum shit you'd ever do because no one needs to be doing all that. No one who's getting into that car needs to be doing all that. So why are you doing all that?
Like, see that meme that says he doesn't have any stones he needs to be throwing gang signs.
Like, what?
We're so good.
To stand shout. I need everyone to get on the YouTube right now and see Nyasha doing this.
Oh, he's so bad.
awful.
Okay, Deni, do you have a donkey of the day?
No, just him.
Just him?
Can I raise one more? Actually,
Yeah, go on.
What do we do about Logan Sargent, bro? Like,
oh my god!
What do we do about this
American stand up?
Do you know
Please
what
come
it
get
is?
your guy.
In my head, I'm just thinking Williams only has one seat because they make sure that that other one doesn't exist in any race, in any quali. Like it's non-existent. No in races and that.
Logan Sargent is literally an industry plant. He has been planted by the marketing team for the US to justify how many races we have in the US, and to justify all the US investors. And he is an industry plant. The sooner you guys know that, the less you'll take him seriously.
Do you know what's mad though? Americans can't stand this guy, bro. Like,
because it's embarrassing that he's representing your country. No offense, it is very embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I don't think I've ever seen any American talk to me about Logan, and I have a lot of followers.
Just the bots, innit?
I've never seen one mention, one DM of saying, "Hi, Deni, I'm from America and I love Logan so much. It's such a shame that he's always crashing, or I'm so sad, or I'm going to a race because of him." Never in my life.
You know what? Nicholas Latifi, I'm sorry, bro. I used to stick on you so much. And like, yes, you are two cheeks of the same ass, but there is now like, you know what? You're not the only awful. You know what? You, Mazepin, Mick Schumacher, like all three of you, I used to stick it on you, man. This guy's doing it on a race by race basis. Yeah. It's not even wet.
Yeah.
This guy's just crashing on his own all the time. No, James Vowles. James Vowles is someone that you know it will take a lot to piss off, and you can hear him, and he's like, "Yeah, obviously, you know, we're kind of going through parts quite quickly, which is not planned."
Quite quickly.
He was so.
He's another one who's like,
"Did you see that Williams? Did you see that? Put the picture in the pod. That Williams mechanic that was like."
Head in his hand. I've just mashed on Tinder with some fine Japanese Tokyo thing, and now I'm gonna have to stay in the garage all night fixing this car.
That's what I was thinking.
Unbelievable. Do you not know that's what all these mechanics do?
Is it?
The plans.
They download Bumble and Tinder in that, and then that is smart.
I don't know.
What do you think they do? That's what I'd be doing. Are you crazy?
That's why you're not there. You're here.
That's why his ass ain't there, because he can't be trusted.
No, I can't be trusted. That's great.
He can't.
No. I think someone was like, you know how these F1 girls, they get too excited and they start showing off about shit.
Yeah.
But that is true though, isn't it? The engineers do literally all get a group Uber and just be like, right, let's just go out and have a night out. Yeah. Mate, I've been speaking to this girl. I've been lotioning this girl since Mexico. Can't wait to see her.
If they don't, then I'd be surprised.
Probably what they're on, yeah.
They probably do. Attractive people, successful people, you know.
Can we also address I'm kind of sick of addressing this guy, but Lance Stroll.
Wait, why did he DNF? He said something about his, and I feel so bad because now he has just no emotion. Because in his interview, and I know we laugh about Lance's interviews all the time, but this time around it's like, oh yeah, what happened? He's like, we're away. What was happening to? He was just falling off. He was just falling off. I don't know.
Is he kind of like ambushing his career? Like, is he now just on some? I don't give a fuck. I don't think he does care anymore, guys.
No, I don't think so either. But
I think he's literally at a point now.
What do you want him to do? He's like, I have a free seat. Might as well try it.
I honestly, how do I put this? I think he's going to be around for a very fucking long time.
Of course.
And like,
because he's keeping half the grid.
Yeah.
He's keeping the lights on for half the grid.
Like, genuinely, like Lawrence Stroll bought that team for that kid. And until he says, I think it'll be interesting to see in like 2026, or 2025, Alonso's contract ends after next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see whether they renew Alonso, whether they go for someone else. I can't remember, I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, if I was Aston Martin, if Alonso leaves, do I put a cheeky bid in for George Russell? That British heritage, British drive. Look, I'm just saying, if George is going to get pounded by Lewis, let me tell you now, let's say, ideal world, George Russell continues to get pounded like on track by Lewis, right? Loses, realizes Lewis is like talking about contracts till 2030. George is not going to wait around until 2030 to inherit the Mercedes team, right? These guys have got Kimi Antonelli in the junior ranks, who is pretty much the next Oscar Piastri. Like, he is ridiculous. At some point, he's probably going to go to Williams. Then we're basically waiting for him to take George's seat. And that will maybe be the true heir to Lewis's throne if we're talking 2030. If I'm George Russell, do I wait for a Mercedes seat, or do I, at the end of this contract in 2 years, go, you know what? I'm never going to be number one. Let me seek out a new opportunity where I could be a team leader. I don't have Team LH on my dick every race. And that's that. And what team screams George Russell more than Aston Martin, British Racing Green? Do you know how much Tweed and James Bond shit they can get George Russell in? That's so money.
So much beans and sausages involved. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we're British. Why are you dunking on us like that?
I love beans.
I'm talking about the good shit, not the stuff Americans make fun of.
I love beans.
I love
beans.
It's a well-known thing. I freaking love baked beans. Like, I'll stand by them. I love it in a jack of potato. I like it on toast. I love it in a jack of potato.
I like it on toast.
Yeah, won't eat it on chips though, because that's bush.
Not for me.
Top 3 beans: baked beans, Heinz, and that's it. I won't eat Tesco ones or like
the one with the tomato sauce in it.
Baked beans, Heinz.
I love them.
Yeah, I mean, baked beans are the only beans.
British. Yeah, I think Americans think there's different beans.
Although I do like cannelloni.
No, but they are. No, they are different beans. Where I'm from,
no, but like, okay, top 3 beans. Okay, I like the beans that we put in, the ones that we put in rice and peas.
Okay.
Have I missed it?
There's this
Is that beans? Yeah.
From where I'm from, called feijoada, and it's you do it with beans. And it's like you actually like bake them. It's not the canned ones.
Yeah, red beans. What are the ones that you get in a? What are the ones that you get in a Chipotle bowl? Kidney beans, right?
Kidney beans.
Yeah, kidney beans.
Yeah, that's different type of beans.
Anyway, guys. So,
sorry,
guys. Honestly, no. I just like heard like 1,000 podcast listeners just be like, okay, this is.
Why do they start talking about beans? My podcast, bitch. Anyway, go on.
Is there any more for any more?
The next few races are going to be very, very interesting. There's really a civil war amongst Mercedes.
I'm excited for Brazil because if our
I'm gonna wear my
car's
Brazil
good,
top.
if our car's good and both drivers are there, then it's going to be war.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. And also because I know George Russell's going to come in with, I've won here, I can do it again. And so waiting for that. Hopefully the car's good hopefully the car's good in everywhere else. You know what I'm saying? But it's going to be
Nearly
interesting.
forgot, guys. Sorry, we need to read out the tweets because it's not.
It's not about
Lewis
you.
Hamilton's
It's
so
not about
close
us.
to P2.
It's about them.
It's
What's
about
that?
them.
Sorry, Deni?
Lewis Hamilton's close to P2. And so we need to maximize that. I hope Mercedes would maximize that, but we'll yet to see it.
Okay. Well, look, we will see. I think Checo's got another couple Checo moments in him. So I think it's likely.
P2's warranted.
Yeah, right. Let's read out some tweets. I've put the tweet in the chat so you guys can choose. Let's do two each. I'll start. Hamilton's chief celebrant, THL443, says star has to be Lewis and Oscar. Lovely to see him on the podium. Donkey of the day, George William Russell and Sergio Perez. It was actually hilarious how bad he was this weekend. Talking point, at what point does George's tenacity and hunger impede his hopes of developing into a future champion? Oof. What a piercing question.
You need to start reading tweets early because then
you start reading the talking points early because we've probably answered that before. But the quick answer to that is that I don't think he'll ever be as good as Lewis Hamilton, and I think Lewis Hamilton is, if he says he's going to stay in the sport till 2030, George Russell needs to leave Mercedes to realize any ambitions he has of being a number one driver, and that's just the cold hard factos. Anyone else?
I'm gonna go for Crystal. Tweet. Oh, sorry. Go on. Oh. You sure?
Thank you.
I'm gonna go for Crystal Brooklyn, and Crystal said her star of the day is Oscar Piastri, and she said I'm impressed by him overall. He's that guy. Happy to support him. Totally agree with you, Crystal. She's put her donkey of the day as Perez. She said, "What the fuck even was that? He thought he was at the bowling alley with Lewis and the team. What a menace." And she also said, "Shout out to the FIA at the Cauldron, brewing another way to help Red Bull Racing by any means necessary."
Yeah, Red Bull. Yeah. Red Bull, for a team that breaks the rules so much, have got such a good handle on the fucking rules and the loopholes, bro. That sending Perez back out shit was so ridiculous that only Red Bull would actually do that. But fair play, you know, it's in the rules, they could do it, and like the FIA will, of course, change it so that no one can ever do that again, ever. Deni.
I chose Zay's tweet, luckily for Roscoe. She said, "Star is Lewis, of course. Donkey is Sargent. He cannot keep getting away with this." And then Checo also driving like he's in the half. And George and Mercedes strategy. And I chose her because the talking point is actually really interesting. She said, "How long can Sargent stay on realistically? Why is Lawson not being given a chance? And why has Lando not had a win yet?"
Wow. Wow.
I think the Lando thing, question mark, but the Liam and Sargent thing is actually very interesting. Those are really interesting talking points. And those are very good questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you can you put that tweet into the chat, please?
Yes.
If possible. Thank you very much. Right, it's me, isn't it? I'm gonna choose. Yes, Sumi, 99th cent. Star goes to Piastri. Love how cool and calm he is. Donkey, GR gambling on the suboptimal strategy and almost compromising LH's race in the process. Talking point, 4-second pit stops for Merc. Y'all stink. It's crazy. Like, guys, I saw that 4-second pit stop and I literally I nearly dashed my cup of tea away in disgust. What are we doing? Like, and in fact, there's like other commentators like, "Oh, they fed him into a nice window ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. They nearly passed us." Because of these stupid ass 4-second pit stops. But George gets like a 2-point sign, obviously. Lewis gets a 4-second pit stop and a 3-second pit stop. Guys, I just want to see, we're never in the top 10 pit stops, ever.
Never.
And it's just like, it's embarrassing. But, you know, bigger fish to fry, I guess. Thandie.
Hey. So I have Joey FCB, and his star of the day is Lewis and Oscar. His donkey is Sergio Perez and the FIA. And the talking point is, we're so used to seeing dad support racers through their careers. It's so beautiful to see Mama Piastri and the relationship she has with Oscar. That was beautiful, man. 100%.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Deni, do you have any last ones?
Yeah. So my last one is Renaissance Tour alumni.
Ooh.
And this
Shout out you.
Shout out.
Oh my God,
Shout
that
out her. I have to check the pronouns. She says Star, Piastri, and Lewis, Donkey, Checo, George Russell, and Mercedes strategy. We've talked about that. She's going to enjoy this podcast. Talking points. Alpine's drivers management. They asked Gasly to let Esteban through right before the finish line when it got the team the same number of points in the end, when that relationship is already fragile. That's really interesting. I wanted to say something on that because obviously I do follow Alpine quite closely. The reason why they did that, Oscar, Ocon did come out and say the reason why that happened was because they do it all the time. That's their team dynamic, basically. And it's not about who finishes first and who finishes last when they're getting the same points. It's more about integrity and promising each other something and then giving it back. So it was on the sense of like when Fernando was here, when Daniel was here, we've always done it. If we revert positions because you want to go after the car, you think you have more pace. And if you don't do it, then give me my place back. It's basically like I'm lending you something and after you've used it, give it back. Right. So it's just about team principle. And I understand that Gasly was a bit confused because he wasn't told that initially. He was just on the sense of like, yeah, he's going to let you pass and then cool, we'll assess it later. It's a bit of a shame, really, because Gasly did feel like he had more pace, but it's really, truly down to like team integrity and how they do things. So interesting talking point, but it's not much to it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we saw the video of Gasly banging his wheel afterwards. Again, communication. And it's one of those things where I think a lot of F1 teams, given that they have all this information at their hands, there always seems to be miscommunication with drivers, which I don't understand. But what can you do? All right. Well, look, Deni, thank you so much for your time. What an amazing guest!
Thank you for having me. And cheering.
You giving Deni.
I feel like every time I'm on here, the time just flies, and it's like we don't even care. We could go on and on and on. This reminds me of our last one that Thandie wasn't here. It was just chatting and laughter. I love it.
Well, look,
love it so much.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Congratulations on all your success that you're having. We're really proud of you. Well done.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Look, no worries. Where can people find you online?
People can find me online on Twitter or X at FIAgirly.
Awesome. Ooh. Make sure you go hit her up. Notice board. Exciting times. Tickets for the live show will be in this description below. Below here. In the description there. It's out now. By the time this is out, the tickets are out. They are live.
What race are you doing?
Austin. Sorry, this is in America.
Austin.
Oh, right.
I'm just going to start singing.
Living in America.
No. Did you get your shot?
No. No, can we bleep that out, please? Before
Austin live show.
I knew he would get so tempted to do that.
Live show.
Who wants to come home with me?
America!
No, are we allowed to say? I hope nobody knows the context of that.
I'm not going to say the
Bloody hell.
context of this, but that's
If you know you're as sick as me.
Get snitches, don't say anything.
Yeah, don't snitch.
But no, look, we're coming to America. We're so excited. We've got a live show in Austin on Sunday. It is in the only Black-owned art gallery in Austin. We have, free fucking drinks, okay? You will not have to pay for a single drink in this venue because
Drinks
that's
on
on
us.
Quick Stop F1, baby, okay?
That's on us.
We've got a DJ there that's spinning all of your favorite songs. We're going to have guests there. We're going to have us too. There's going to be merch there. There's literally going to be a celebration of us as a community. Quick Stop One. We're going to be pushing the advertising on this all the way through to Austin. There is limited event.
Checking flights right now. Checking flights right now.
There you go.
I'm going to be there.
I can't wait to meet everyone. Come in your
I really
merch.
can't wait. Yeah.
Bring flowers for Nyasha. Bring your happy face on.
Yeah.
Come celebrate with us, man.
Come celebrate with us. And yeah, we will be there. And Mario is claiming that he's going to be there. We will see.
We shall see, Mario.
He's going to take good drunk pictures, apparently. So make sure you got your glad rags on.
Glam rags.
But no, hopefully, the whole team will be there. And yeah, we can't wait to meet you and see you guys. So the link will be down below. I'll probably do some kind of promo thing tomorrow at some point. But yeah. It's out. It's out. Can't wait to see you all. Buy your tickets. All of that. How exciting.
Do you have the promo poster, Nyash?
No, that's coming in 2 or 3 days. So I've got a temporary poster and then we'll replace it. So, any more for any more?
Yeah, shout me if you want to pay for my driving lessons. Maybe then I won't. I don't know. Like I'll come on the yeah. If you wanna
maybe look,
maybe then more driver knowledge will come in. You're investing in the podcast that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So sorry when to put the foot down.
Exactly. I'll know which side. Whoops.
Foot. Yeah.
Or it's the button. Am I going to Formula One?
Yeah.
You could be starting my career.
Well, look, we're going to see that in some content that's going to come out soon. So looking forward to that.
All right.
Thandie's been asked to do some big things with some big content creators. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. Guys, thank you so much for your time. We love doing this for you. Oh, I just want to say congrats to Mario and Tasha having their most viewed episode on Saturday. You guys, just going to keep in your place.
You're rude. Give them the round of applause. What's wrong with you? This guy.
Oh, man. They're building something really special on every Saturday. I can't believe they actually did it after qualifying.
I checked in and Mario looked like he was hot. Like he looked like he was struggling. Tasha looked fresh as hell. Shout out Tasha.
Respect-free.
It's respect-free, Mario.
Hold on. Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk about me like that. Okay.
No, but for real. But no, you guys, I'm really proud of you guys. I just wanted to say that on the pod. And if you guys aren't aware, Mario and Tasha do a show every Saturday. It's after qualifying on race days and on qualifying days, and then on non-race days they go through the news. It's a great show. They've got great chemistry. I think they're getting better and better and better. And if you like what we do, then you'll love what they do. So we'll be looking to kind of keep that up and do all kinds of cool shit for you guys on the channel. So keep an eye out for that.
Amen.
But make sure you tune into those guys every Saturday. That is it for me.
That is it for me.
Okay, cool.
That is it for me as well.
Okay, wonderful. Well, guys, it's going to be a long week on Twitter, okay? A long couple of weeks, okay?
It started long already.
Guys, you need to, try and, obviously, if you've got a difference in opinion, just try and do
Be
it in respect.
And that's just not only Twitter, because I feel like some of our listeners might not have Twitter. It's all over socials. If you have socials, it's gonna be a long week. There's gonna be meme pages.
Specifically on Twitter.
Yeah.
Read things twice.
I saw Aldous tweet, Mercedes, the new Ferrari. I'm about to text him and have a word because that was rude and ruined my day. But shout out Aldous.
No more oxtail for you.
No more oxtail for you, Aldous, if you're listening. Go tweet Aldous and tell him your bad vibes for that.
Yeah.
Your bad vibes.
Said your bad vibes.
Said your bad vibes.
Not getting any more oxtail.
No more oxtail. No more turkey neck. No more stew. No more mac and cheese.
None of that. Rice and peas, green rice, none of that. No, you
tell
don't
him
even
to
get
delete my number. Anyway,
I need to come for,
no matter what, we do what?
You will come for a roast one day for sure. We'll get that sorted.
Oh, yes.
No matter what life throws at you guys, remember,
keep it on the black stuff.
Keep it on the black stuff.
Until next time, take care. Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quick Stop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.